evening, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk show here on UrbanCast. I'm Jack, and tonight we have a special guest with us who's bringing us some world-class dance training right here in Central Louisiana, in Alexandria, by the way. Terrance Johnson, a native of Alexandria and owner of TMJ School of Dance, is opening a brand new location here in our city this September. His mission is to make professional level dance education accessible to everyone. And tonight, we're going to talk about what this means for our community, for our youth, and for the future of arts right here in Alexandria. As always, we encourage everybody, if you got a question, to join in by dropping your questions in the comments. Terrance going to be checking them. I won't check them. I get too many. Terrance is going to tag. He's going to put messages on it. So if you have any questions, he'll answer them and all that kind of good stuff. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, and help this broadcast so more people can hear some of the good stuff that's happening right here in Alexandria. With that said, Terrance, how you doing today, man?
I am doing fantastic, man. I cannot complain. I'm glad to be home, and I'm glad to be on this podcast to be able to share some of the things that I have in store that that I've been led to do. So I'm feeling good. It's raining out right now, and so I was just telling some friends of mine that are back in Texas. I was like, man, rain in Louisiana is completely different. Completely. It's so cleansing, but it's also it's very intense.
It's kind of like when I'm up in Indianapolis with our relatives. When it's raining, they shut down. When it's snowing and ice and all that stuff is all over the ground, they're moving around. So
Yeah.
they do that just the opposite thing. I hear, yeah. Terrance, you're bringing TMJ School of Dance home to Alexandria. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna hold out. Terrance, tell us a little bit about yourself first. I would prefer you tell us a little bit more, and then I'm gonna jump down into the questions.
Okay, cool. So I am a native of Alexandria, Louisiana, born and raised right here. I went to Ball Elementary, W. Hall Elementary, Peabody Sixth Grade Center. I know it's now Peabody Montessori, but it
Mhm.
was a sixth grade center when I was in school. From there, went to Jones Street Junior High School, a graduate of Peabody Magnet High School, and went to the Southern University, and A&M College at Baton Rouge,
Mhm.
where I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Marketing and Sales with a concentration in professional sales. After graduation from college, I moved to Texas where I did the corporate thing. I worked for Bank of America. I worked for Wachovia Bank. I worked for Regions Bank. And then I went into .com sales and distribution with IBM. Kind of got
Mhm.
tired of the corporate thing and was like, man, I really just want to dance. So I started training at Dallas Black Dance Academy,
Mhm.
where I eventually joined the second company and toured and trained with the company. Went off to train in places like New York at the Ailey School, American Dance Festival, deeply rooted in Chicago. I went back to Dallas where I got my master's in dance performance and choreography from Texas Women's University. And I started the TMJ Dance Project, which has been an organization that has been used to support children and families in historically underserved communities through dance and dance programming, which is always, it always has led me back home, and it's always given me space to create and do things at home. So the TMJ Dance Project is definitely no stranger to Central Louisiana,
Mhm.
but definitely relocating and making it home is exciting for us.
So the TMJ Dance Project, as in comparison to the dance school, tell us that little distinguishing differences between those two. One is probably the business. One is the special something that you have deep down in your heart. But can you kind of tell us a little bit about the differences between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. So the TMJ Dance Project is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that uses dance to enrich the lives of children and families in historically underserved communities. We do that through three pillars. One pillar is community outreach and enrichment, and
Mhm.
so all of our programs that we go out into community resource centers, we collaborate with community partners. All of those things are facilitated through the nonprofit side, which is the the TMJ Dance Project.
Mm-hmm.
Our second pillar is arts and education. So
Mm-hmm.
under the project as well, we go into schools and we work on how primarily how dance and literacy intersect, and we make programs that develop literacy skill development through movement. Again, that all falls under the TMJ Dance Project as well. The TMJ
Mm-hmm.
School of Dance, which most people see and most people, recognize us for with the work that we do with our youth, it is a part of the TMJ Dance Project. So it's one of those pillars where we make dance training accessible and affordable for students in our schools. So while it seems like two separate entities, they're all working for the same mission, right?
Right.
But the TMJ Dance Project is our umbrella company, right? It is where we facilitate everything from, is where we move from, is where our core values are held. It is where the deepest portion of our mission are held, even though our pillars have direct missions that are specific to impact and the things that we're trying to shift. It all centers around, again, using dance as a vehicle to support children and families in historically underserved.
All right, all right, all right. So, Terrance, you bringing the School of Dance home to Alexandria. What inspired you to make that transition from Dallas back to 6 hours away back to home, man?
4 hours.
Look, what you speed. Well, if you're on the
4 hours.
edge and
It's
4 hours,
4 hours. Even if you driving right, it's 4 hours.
it's four. All right.
So I think there are several things there. The first thing is that it is more of an expansion than it is a transition,
Mhm.
because of course our organization will still operate in Dallas, and we'll be shifting where our home base is from, but we'll continue to serve the families and still continue to have the projects and programs that we began with implementing in Dallas. Um, what I think fueled the expansion, two things for me, and that's purpose and time.
Mhm.
Purpose, because all of the work that I do through this organization, and in any space that I take up, I try to make sure that it is with purpose and intention. And so living life on purpose and having a purpose for the things that I want to impact, or the things that I am designed, that I'm put here to impact. A lot of times when I think about purpose, it definitely goes beyond me, and it is more of an assignment. So I think this time has shown how like my purpose is needed
Mhm.
here, and not just mine, but the work of the TMJ Dance Project and the work of the TMJ School. Because when I speak of these entities, it is something that is greater than myself. It's named after me, and over the last 10 years, like I've gone back and forth, like, man, should I have named it after myself? But the work that we do, the impact that we make, it is so far greater than me, and it's beyond me. So when I speak to things like me coming home, or me being here personally, it's totally different than the business or the organization or the cultural enrichment that I'm looking to do here in the city through this organization, again, that is larger than me, but supports so many people and so many families. So what really brought the expansion is just purpose, and being obedience to that, and then knowing when the timing is right for it. Like I could have done this years ago. Maybe I could have never left and just done it right after I graduated, or high school, maybe never even gone off to college, or whatever the case may be. But one of the things that I value with time is that it does reveal a lot of things. And so if we appreciate the space that time has, it will allow us to see, how some people say, well, time heals all, or just time will tell. I think in instances like this, it definitely was a matter of timing, and of time and timing.
Right.
And so I'm excited just to be obedient to that, to be obedient to purpose, and to be obedient to the time that is the present, that is the gift. So I'm grateful
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. So for families who may be hearing about the school for the first time, what makes the TMJ School of Dance different from other programs in the area?
Um, so like I haven't been home to really, look at what the landscape is in regards to like dance and dance training, and what would like be all of the differentiating factors that make us unique. But I will say, you know, what I know for sure is the cultural piece. To be able to receive dance training and be able to have cultural identity connected to that, especially children of color. You know, like it's important to have reflections of people that look like you, that share your experiences, that share your same cultural. What do you want to say, like you know, just cultural heritage. Yeah. It becomes a place that opens our students up to being able to learn from a different perspective,
Hmm.
and a perspective that is true to who they are. So the unique factor that, you know, the TMJ school brings here is the cultural piece. It's the cultural education that you'll find on our schedule. I will say we will, and I think I can say this for sure, but we are probably the only school in Sinlaw that will offer the Lester Horton technique, which is a beautiful modern technique that is really popular in Black dance, for lack of a better word. We call it like Black dance. And so when you speak of the canon of Black dance, you look at the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Dallas Black Dance Theater in Dallas. You have Philadelphia in Philadelphia, Cleo Parker Robertson in Colorado. These are all companies that use this beautiful Horton technique that is made to design and fortify the body and strengthen the body. But what I find that it aligns with the most in Black culture is that it's expressive. So you know, when we see our students who do like a lot of praise dance, and they'll pull from rep that has a lot of Horton technique, like Wade in the Water. You know,
Hmm.
Alvin Ailey created that as a part of Revelations, and we've seen it in the Black church over and over and over again. And that piece itself is a reflection of the Black church. So the Lester Horton technique is another space that I think is going to make us very, very unique here in the city, because we'll be one, if not the only school that will offer that technique, at least starting out. I'm sure,
All right.
you know, other studios may pick up the trend and pick it up as a class offering. But for right now, we will be the ones to offer that.
Your Alexandria location will offer classes for ages 3 to adults. Can you walk us through the kinds of classes and the styles you're going to be teaching? Uh, you know, specifically with the kids, and then also with the
Okay,
adults.
so you cut out just a little bit on me.
I did. Okay, let me try it
Can you
again.
repeat that? It cut out on me just a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right. The Alexandria location is going to be offering training from ages 3 to adult. Can you walk us through the
Mhm.
kinds of classes and styles you'll be teaching? And is it anything different between the adults and the kids?
Absolutely. So we'll start with our kid training, with our youth is what I like to say.
Hmm.
So we have classes starting at 3 years old. Our 3 year old class is a creative movement class, and it is a, we say mommy and me, but a mommy and me or a daddy and me. There has to be a parent in the class with
Hmm.
the student. But what it does is it gives our younger dancers an opportunity to just be free and express themselves, and
Hmm.
to build child development skills, motor skills, coordination, and to be able to do that coupled in the classroom with parents as well. So that is our 3 year old class.
Hmm.
From 4 to 7 years old, we consider that our primary level. And at our primary level, we create a combination class. This is the class where the students will get ballet and acrobatics as a foundation. Acrobatics, because again, kids are super engaged in that. They want to flip, they want to turn over, they want to do all these things. But we use that as a space to allow them to understand their bodies more, coordination, to be able to learn, you know, physicality and things like that. And then we couple that with the ballet to give them more of the structure and the alignment that they'll need as they develop through our program. For ages 8 to 13, we consider that our junior level. And in our junior level, we have classes again that'll be available in ballet and Horton. In our school, we do require that every student take at least one ballet class. So if you are taking, let's say if a student wants to take multiple classes, they can take as many classes as they want on the schedule, but one of those classes has to be a ballet class so that we're able to really engage in those foundational principles for the industry of dance. Now, We don't teach that ballet is the foundation of dance, right? That's where that cultural conversation comes in, and why it's important to have, cultural identity and cultural education as a part of dance education. Because ballet for the industry of dance, for like audition purposes, for, if you're auditioning for a job or you're auditioning for a school, most of these spaces are going to require a strong ballet foundation, or at least a fundamental space for ballet. So a lot of times when people say that ballet is the foundation of dance, I think they speak to it from that. But culturally, dance comes from people. So the first dance are our folk dances, right? These are dances that are connected with things like agriculture, or weather or spirit or whatever the case may be. Our folk dances are our dances that are true to who we are, and that is where dance, originates. I would take that even further and say that African dance is the foundation of dance, because the first instrument that was ever created was the djembe drum, and it was created in Africa. And so, in order to have movement, I don't think we were doing ballet to the djembe. So, again, for all of our students that are in our school, we do require ballet as a fundamental technique for the industry of dance. But as a cultural education, we teach the value and the importance of folk dance, which will be added to our schedule here in Sinlaw a little bit later. Right now, we do have to build those foundational skills with our students. So our schedule for students that are in our junior level, which is 8 to 13, we have ballet, we have Horton, and then we have team jazz prep, or jazz team prep, which is a jazz class that helps these younger students that are trying to audition for local school teams or community teams and things like that. Our senior level is students that are 14 and up, and again, a strong ballet foundation. We have classes in ballet. We have classes in the Horton technique, and we also offer a senior advanced jazz, especially for those young ladies that are getting ready to audition at the collegiate level. So that class is on the schedule as well. And for our adults, we really look at that as dance, fitness, and wellness. So all of our adult classes are wellness classes. So we'll have a step aerobics class. We'll have a heels class for all of our ladies that like to be very seductive and sensual in a safe space. And then we'll have social dance for adults. So that's like line dancing, swing out, and things like that to engage the community with dance. And so a full schedule of classes. We're going to take it slow this first year, because again, people have to see what it is we're offering. And, you know how that goes. And I understand that. Again, we had this conversation earlier about timing. And so I do understand the time, even with me being a native and being from here, there is still that time that is needed to see, what the program is all about. So I'm excited about showing that and letting the work that we do speak to that. And I'm grateful for all of the people that will join us for the very beginning of the ride, and seeing us all the way through it.
Well, listen, let me ask you this. What's uh, the registration process look like? Any kind of deadlines for those first classes that are starting on September the 2nd? And then speak to the idea that you kept the tuition down to like $75 per month per class, with multi-class discounts if one chooses to do something like that.
Absolutely. So registration is absolutely easy. All you need to do is visit our website, www.tmjschoolofdance.com. And then
Mhm.
you can click on the tab that says enroll. From there, it will give you an option one to look at our full registration packet that details everything about this season. It gives class rates. Let me start. It gives our founding. It gives how we got started. It definitely highlights our core values, which are so important to me. And I think that, with any organization, if you can identify what their core values are, it will tell you whether you should engage with this organization or not. Because again, those are the spaces that we really run our organization from. So beyond that, we have our full schedule that is in there, any fees or any additional fees, all the discounts that are listed. All of the performance opportunities that we have for our students, including parades and recitals, all of that is available if you click on enrollment. There are three tabs. One tab says the registration packet. The second tab has the actual schedule. So you should be able to click and see what the schedules are, and the schedule is listed by age range as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing on there will be our code of conduct, so that you can see, families can see like how we operate as an organization, and how we communicate and do all of our client relationship management
Mm-hmm.
with our families. From there, you're able to create an account with Dance Studio Pro. Um, that's how we manage all of our client relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
once you create that account there, you're able to select your classes and order your class attire. Everything that you need to do, you're able to do through Dance Studio Pro. There's an app for it as well. So once families are completely enrolled, they can download the Dance Studio Pro app, and everything that we do is done through that app. Emails, communication, payments, everything is done through the app. Deadlines. So we have our open house happening this Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
from 1 to 5. And so in order to reserve your spot in any class, the annual registration fee of $50 is due up front. So there's no tuition payment that is due today or that is due before class. But there is a registration fee of $50 that is due as a one-time registration fee that is due to reserve your spot. Even if you need to change your schedule, reflect your schedule. If you we need to get your spot reserved, because another important thing that we focus on at TMJ is making sure that our class size is intimate,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can have the student impact in performance and skill assessment. So we don't overfill our classes. Our classes max out at 15 students per class.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important to at least get your account created and get your $50 registration fee in, so that way your spot is reserved. The first month's tuition for September will be due on September 1st, and that will be according to however many classes a student is enrolled for. So one class a month is $75, and then there's a multi-class discount for every class above that. So two classes, of course, would essentially be 150, but with our multi-class discount, two classes a month is 135. Three
Oh,
classes a month is 180, and then we have a flat fee of $200 a month where you can take the unlimited classes.
oh, okay.
So
All right.
four more. The structure of our tuition, it is important so that we create accessibility and affordability within our business model, right? So I say that to say, we don't work to make TMJ the cheap school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's definitely world class quality attached to what we are doing, but because our school is birthed from a nonprofit organization, we have that attachment to our mission to make dance accessible, to make it equitable, and to make it affordable, so that we are closing like the opportunity gaps that exist within like social constructs, social economic constructs, and things like that. So this first year, like our overhead is not as high. Once we grow into a larger facility, and we have more instructors that we have to pay more and things like that. On the business side, that will shift, of course, like how tuition rates and things like that work. But the way that we support that is through our scholarship fund. Again, we are birthed out of a nonprofit organization. So we do have a lot of private donors, a lot of fundraising initiatives that we do to be able to supplement families that can't support, that can't afford the tuition, even if it increases based on the things that we have to do to be able to sustain our business. So this year is most affordable because, again, the sustainability of what we have to do on the business side doesn't have as much overhead. But as our school grows, and becomes, more renowned here in the city, that will take an increase to our tuition for the services and, the facilities and things like that that we'll be providing. But we will have, and we do have, a scholarship program that awards our students with scholarships. So in Dallas, 90% of our students are on scholarship. Like, we don't have but maybe four students that pay full tuition. In Dallas, about, like I say, 90% of our students receive some sort of tuition discount or scholarship to be able to supplement the cost. And that has always been the unique factor for the TMJ Dance Project and the TMJ School of Dance.
All right. Well, that's really good to know. So, if someone is sitting back and thinking about it, that those opportunities are there. And I appreciate you for pointing that out. You've seen firsthand how dance can change the lives of young people.
Mhm.
How do you think this school will impact young people right here in Alexandria, especially those that may not have had access to quality art programs in around here? Because when I'm looking at what you are offering, it seems to be really one of a it's going to be unique and it's different. And so how do you think that the community, how do you think everybody's going to uh, feel about that as you move forward?
Um, so I think your question was how the students, or like how will they impact the community, and then like how people will receive it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I'll start with like how people will receive it. I'm not sure.
You're not sure.
I'm not sure how people
That's
will
fair.
receive
That's
it.
fair.
But yeah, because like it keeps you in a place of wonder. And so there's a mantra that I live by, or that I've kind of put into my catalog of mantras. But it says all who wander are not lost, right? So this idea of the unknown is not a bad thing, So like,
No.
like I'm unsure of how it will be received. But what I am sure of is the intention and the pure space that I am creating this from and that we're working from.
Hmm.
What I am sure about is the world class quality of training that will be available. And so these things are constants that won't shift. And so those people that are truly called to that and that we are called to serve, I think that it's going to be received with open arms. It's going to be one of the most amazing things I think that can really impact a child's life um, in ways that we didn't even think. Like we don't understand like how the arts truly impact the lives of our students. But I definitely think that this will be one of those spaces that will do that. So again, I'm not sure of how it will be received. And I'm not looking for like mass acceptance,
Right.
um, but fair assessment. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Oh
Mass
yeah,
acceptance is,
absolutely.
is like that comes and goes. Like a lot of times like mass acceptance is connected to some sort of stimulus, like you align with my thoughts for this, or we can agree on this, or we can't. You get what I'm saying? So like when you're just
I
like
get
accepted by the masses, you've done something to essentially stimulate people in a way that hey, we align together, right? But that fair assessment is like, even if there's something that like I'm not stimulated by through our engagement, I can fairly say that's a great dance school. Like
right,
I
right.
may not agree with the ideology, I may not agree with Terrance the person, right? But I do know that what's being provided at the TMJ School of Dance is world class dance training. And so I think when we look at what is received, how it is received, again, like I'm unsure. I'm optimistic about that. Like I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm bringing my kid to you," but I will say the families that are there, they will benefit greatly from it. Um,
And
and the second part to that, like how it would impact the community and how it's looking to impact Sinlaw. No one knows your vision how you do. So right now everybody sees the School of Dance. They see us in this, new shopping space, center space that we have. And so, I mean, it's going to be beautiful. Once we build it out and everything is done, it's going to be, again, world-class dance in Sinlaw. But the total vision for the TMJ Dance Project as an organization and our school here is to be an international organization that brings all of these things right here to Sinlaw. Our theater spaces here, the Kaufman Sanders Theater, it is world class. It's like you barely get stages like that in New York. Like what they're doing to the amphitheater to be able to provide outside performance space and things like that. Like there are spaces around the world that don't have the resources that we have right here in Alexandria.
you,
And I
I,
come
I
I
hate to,
come from.
I hate to cut you off right there, but it's amazing some of the resources that we have here
Mhm.
in our community, and um, we don't talk them. We don't make sure that everybody is aware. I mean, we have an arts program. We have museums. We have all of this
Mhm.
stuff, but it's like it's a whole part of our community that don't even know some of this stuff even exists. And so I think we've got to do a much better job,
Yeah, and I think that
with
comes in,
making
just
sure.
like just our upbringing, because I've been a part of that school of thought for some time of once I leave Alec, I don't go back, or like,
Mhm.
like Alexandria's this small place, or Alexandria, nothing is, happening there, whatever the case may be. But it really is like there's so much opportunity, there's and if the natives don't, the people that are from here don't look at like the land value that we have, and I mean not even now, just historically, historically what Central Louisiana means, like what the Red River represents for the economy, what it represents for how the economy started here, right? So as a younger child living in Alexandria, I looked at it as home. Coming back now as a businessman and looking at Alexandria, I look at it from a totally different lens, and I see it from the lens of opportunity. Again, of course, there are challenges that probably will exist in those spaces, but again, the resources that we have here gave me the vision to say I can create an international school of dance here in Alec. And so what that means is there are going to be students from all over the world that are going to want to come and do foreign student exchanges to study here. They're going to be artists that we're going to, I have a lot of connections all over. I can't wait to just bring people here. I want to bring artists and say, come to this beautiful place, this serene place, this place that is located on the banks of the beautiful Red River. Come to this place where Louisiana's culture, both North and South, you can find it centralized right here. You can get that Southern Louisiana feel here. You can also get Louisiana's other side, that North side, right here in Central Louisiana. I see it as a space of really being an attraction. So that is how I think it's going to impact the community, because
Well,
now
go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
uh, now artists will begin to see, man, there's this place, Alexandria, like, man, they got bomb studios out there. They have bomb facilities, like there's this school and there's this guy that's really building up dance culture there, having artist residencies here, so with my professional company, I would definitely have to be able to bring artists in like over the summer months for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And, they'll have to stay and engage with the city. So all of those things I think will impact the culture of the city by bringing these things here to them and then exposing our students to a world that exists outside of this. So I see it as being a cultural exchange.
Well, that's a cool thing, and I think it's a great thing that we have that vision. I just think as you moving forward, one of the things that you got to make sure we do is we got to make sure that we are inclusive across the board, and
Absolutely.
making sure that our community is 100% aware of what's going on within this art world. Because I don't think we do a very good job of making sure the entire community know the resources that we have in our community,
Uh,
and what have you. How can parents who may be unsure about enrolling their child in dance understand the value um, that the arts actually bring uh, uh, to everybody, even if their child doesn't plan to be a professional dancer? Just them understanding that the arts is something really wide open. I mean, you got the music, you got the dance, you got English, you got all of that stuff that's in humanities and stuff like that. So how can parents who may be unsure about enrolling their child, really get that feeling that, I think I need to expose my child to this program.
um, there's another mantra. I told you I have a collection of them.
Mhm.
And so these are not my words, but they are, words from wise people that, like I live by and I connect by, or that, like I'm guided by. Let me say that. And so Felicia Rashad, who is, we know her as Claire Huxtable, or, the mother to all mothers to us. She has a quote, and she says, before a child talk, they sing. Before they write, they draw. As soon as they stand, they dance. Art is fundamental to human expression. And that quote is so important because for any parent that is unsure about engaging your child in the arts, whether you engage your child in the arts or not, it's already a part of them. It's already human expression. So before I'm able to call my mother, I have to make a sound that acknowledges my mother, right? And
Hmm.
so what we consider noise, if someone wants to train that and turn that into harmonies or turn that into, that's something that the child they came with them powerful lungs that I didn't have to teach a sophisticated lesson, I mean a sophisticated language. All I had to do was tune the sound that they were making. Before a child learned how to make A, B, C, or D, they draw shapes. So my child that's an artist, I didn't have to teach that child to be to be a artists to be able to visual artists, they were able to do that from the womb. If my child gets up and they already have this bounce to them, like I didn't have to teach them to dance, I have to show them how to be able to use it in, of course, the field of dance. But it is essentially fundamental to human expression. So for child development as well, there's so much research out there that says that students that are in things like band and dance and fine arts, that they mature better, that they develop better, that their level of intelligence is increased. And also, too, the social emotional learning aspect of the arts are another big piece of that. So I encourage all families to engage in some form of the arts and just to try it out first. Like I'm one that believes that every program that you want to be a part of, especially if it's a service organization, give it a try. Like that's not like if you wanna buy a new shirt, you try it on. You go into the store and you try it on, right? So I'm sure most arts and service providers at TMJ we do. Everybody can come in and take a free class to see if you like it, because again, that's just like going to the store and say, "Oh, I like this shirt. Let me try this on." So give it a try. For our younger students, like I come from the thought of as a parent, I'm going to put you in something. I'm going to put you in some things to supplement what you're doing at school academically, to supplement what you're doing at home, to supplement what you're doing in the community. And then when you get of a certain age to where you say, okay, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore, then you at least have that in your pocket, or you at least
Right,
have
right.
had that exposure to that to where it has been a part of you. So, students from the ages of about 3 to 13, I, as a parent, I would probably say, you're gonna have to be in something, something artistic and something athletic. The beauty of dance is that it combines both. It is both athletic and it is both artistic. But it is something that I definitely think supports child development, supports youth development, and things like that.
Right. What's your vision for TMJ in Alexandria over the next few years?
Mhm. So it's interesting that you say that. So we operate from a 5-year plan every year.
Hmm.
So our 5-year strategic plan is actually in process of being built right now, because we celebrate 10 years this March. And so March is when we're going to have the official announcement that, like, we're home based. Now, of course, it's softly launching and people are seeing it. But the vision, as I spoke to earlier, is to be an international school of dance that is located here in Sinlaw, and an international cultural organization that is a major partner and presenter for programs and exposure here in the city. And then again, just a place for people, an attraction to the city, another attraction, a cultural attraction. So I know you mentioned, making sure our communities are aware and are knowledgeable about the things, that we do. um, Culture is community, right? Like, like there is no culture, without the community. Like you have to be able to engage it, because as I said, dance comes from the people. And again, those are not my words, those are the words of Alan Ailey. But he says dance comes from the people and it should always be given back. And what he means by that is we can train in ballet, we can train in Horton, we can train in hip hop, we can train in all of those things, but it is the dance that comes from our people. So here in Louisiana, what is French Creole? What does that look like? What does that mean culturally? Like, for people who identify in those spaces, like how does all of that show up in what we know as Louisiana culture? And being able to be an organization that brings that to life. I think that that's when we begin to see the conversation shift in how people see themselves and how people see the world that they live in. You know, when you can
Mhm.
really hold up that mirror to people and be able to say, you know, this is who you are from a space of movement. This is how it connects to your cultural identity. This is how it connects to how you eat, how you dress. You know, like all of those things become culture. And when we begin to shape that, we begin to see the world that we live in differently. Again, one of the main reasons why I see Alexandria from a different lens now. I see it as now I have to go back to learn more about me. Like every time I'm home, I'm connecting more with culture and community that teaches me, oh, this is why I do it this way. This is why I say make grocery. You know, this is why I say put on my bed clothes, on my night clothes. You know, people other places say pajamas. You know,
Yeah, you're right.
so it is those things that that we're able to shift through dance. So the vision is again to be an international school of dance where we see a lot of cultural exchange happening in our school. A lot of students that come and train on residencies and guest visas. A lot of artists that come and teach and support, but to also be an international presenter. So bringing companies here to Alexandria, bringing artists here to Louisiana, creating also two jobs for our families and communities here. You know, our goal is to be able to build students that become teachers. So,
Mhm.
you know, if your student has been training with us from the age of 6 to 14, when they turn 15 and are able to work, we can offer their first job as a teacher assistant, or, you know, because these are programs that we already have in Dallas with our internship and our pre-professional co-op. So it's a lot of moving pieces. You know, again, the dance school or the School of Dance is what people will see as the main ambassador of what we are doing. But it definitely is a cultural arts movement that is really going to shift, you know, like how we see each other, how we see ourselves, and align that with the opportunities that are available to us in the city.
You know, how can the community and local leaders, the businesses support your mission and ensure this program thrives? I mean, you've explained the concept that it is a nonprofit 501c3, and so Alexandria would have a lot to lose and a ton of a lot to gain with the school in existence here. So how can those organizations support your mission?
One, we actually have openings for our executive board of directors and our
Mhm.
advisory board. So if anyone would like to volunteer their time, talents, and skills to be able to support our mission in that way, that is one of the most amazing ways to do it, is to be able to sit on either our executive board, which of course is a lot more entailed, and that's the application process, but our advisory board too, which still has those same governance responsibilities with really oversight for our mission. Volunteering is also another space. I actually invite everyone, before I ask anybody to donate, before I ask anybody to do anything for TMJ, I ask that they volunteer. And I took a cohort in Dallas with the State Fair of Texas, and one of our modules, it was about volunteerism and like really getting people to volunteer. And what it says, they opened the class with this quote that said, "People who give their money look for a return. People who give their time look to make a contribution. People who give their money look for a return. People who give their time are looking to make a contribution," right?
Mhm.
And so, you know, most times when you ask people for money or for a donation up front, they're going to look for, well, what kind of gift do I get back? Or, you know, what kind of, you know, with companies, what kind of report am I going to get? What data are we going to be sharing? Or, you know, whatever the case may be. But when you have someone that volunteers and comes in and says, okay, wait a minute, I see the inner workings of this. Like, I see that what way they really need to hire a receptionist to be here every day. I can't volunteer every Saturday. So now I am more inclined to give that $10,000 donation because I've come in to see the work. So that taught me that volunteers are essentially your best donors, you know, to really grow your donors and your relationships from a volunteer perspective. So to
Mhm.
go back to your question with how can people get involved, especially city leaders and community leaders and things like that, come and volunteer, you know, sit in on some of our board meetings, you know, tune in to calls like this so that you have more insight. And then you're more inclined to, as I say, volunteer your time and services. That will grow into whether that be sitting on our board or being a private donor or an annual contributor, quarterly contributor, to that effect.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up this weekend and the start of classes. Give us a good rundown on that before we get ready to get out of here.
Yeah, so Saturday we have our open house from 1 to 5. We
Hmm.
have a free 1 hour dance class for each age range, so 4 to 7, 8 to 13, and then 14 and up. So our schedule is from 1 to 2. You can come in and tour the new space. So right now we are still building everything out. Our official floors and mirrors and all of that will be up by the start of class on September 2nd. But it gives families an opportunity to see where we're located, see how much time it takes to get from their home to the facility, to see our parking, to meet me, and then we'll go into the different classes for each age range, so they can try a class. As again, like I said, when you go to the store to buy a shirt, you try it on. So
Hmm.
here's your opportunity to come in and try a class and see how your little dancer does in the dance space. We also will be able to complete registration. So any questions you have about, go ahead and getting that annual registration fee in and getting your spot reserved, ordering class attire, so the leotards, the tights, ballet shoes, jazz shoes, all of that. We'll be having all that available on Saturday as well. And then we'll provide all of our families with first day of class information so that they're ready for September 2nd when we kick off classes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of excitement around, the start of class, and you'll get a firsthand look into what world-class dance and Sinla is really going to be about.
What's going to be about? I hear you. I hear you. But Terrance, did you have anything before we get ready to close out here? Did you have anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to say?
I think we covered a lot. There's going to be a lot of information releasing about, like our expansion into Sinlaw and our relocation as far as a home base here. So definitely stay on the lookout for that. There's going to be social events and fundraising events that are happening, and also 2 community projects that we're going to be doing. So just be on the lookout for the TMJ Dance Project and the TMJ School of Dance. I do want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in and gave up your time just to hear and listen about what the TMJ Dance Project and TMJ School has to offer and what we're doing in Sinlaw. And I definitely want to thank you, Jack, and UrbanCast for giving me this platform to reach so many people and to, just to speak to my hometown and speak to my people.
Well, I definitely think the arts are the way to go, and so and we also feel very passionate about recreational programs for kids in our community too, because we know that they are some of the most inexpensive ways to keep kids on the right path. You know what I mean? And so those after school programs, things like this, with the options you guys have with the scholarships being added into the equation, really it's just a matter of that person saying, "Hey, I want to do it," and then you guys could even actually help them make that happen. I know we had one question out there. This is something positive for the kids. It needs to be affordable, but based upon what we've talked about, the scholarships and things of that nature, it is affordable. You just got to ask and don't think that the door is going to be closed and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Terrance, I definitely want to thank you for sharing your passion and for investing in young people in Alexandria. Damon, Steve, and I definitely say that from the bottom of our hearts because we know our kids are our future. If you like more information or want to register for classes, y'all can get out there and go visit the TMJ School of Dance.com. Classes are going to start September the 2nd, and the recital and performance will be held on May the 16th. So thinking way in advance, they're going to be a recital and performance. May 16th is that day. We want to thank our followers for tuning in tonight. Please continue to comment, like, and share so others can hear about this great opportunity here in Alexandria. And as always, we extend a big thank you to Sadler's Towing, Long's Products, Legendary Kung Fu and Tai Chi. Class of 2025 sponsors Attorney Tiffany Sanders, Sadler's Towing, and District Attorney Philip Terra. And one of our newest clients that we have online, the United Wrestling entertainment organization, for their ongoing support of UrbanCast and for our community programs. With that said, I'm going to say good night. Terrance, if you can hang in there for 1 second, it's got a commercial going to run. If you needed to say something else before I hit this button over here, you're more than welcome.
Thank you to everybody. Just thank you to everybody.
All righty, man. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.